Patriots are getting ready to take on the Houston Texans in Week 11. I'm Mariah, Janos, joined by Evan Lazar. Evan, this is a team that has been struggling quite a bit this season. They're 2-7, most recently losing to Cleveland. But are there any areas of their offense as of right now that the Patriots should really be focusing on that could pose a potential threat come this weekend?
Well, the thing is that they're 2-7, and I know Bill Belichick is one to pump up a team, an opponent, always. But this morning he went on for a good 5 minutes about the Texans roster and Deshaun Watson. And when you look at them on paper, this does not look like a 2-7 football team. On offense, they have Deshaun, they have Brandon Cooks, they have Will Fuller, they have a couple tight ends. Defensively, they still have J.J. Watt. They still have some good players on that side of the ball too. So talent-wise, roster-wise, is a much better team than their record indicates. And Patriots have had some trouble, let's face it, with Houston in the Deshaun Watson era. His rookie season, he almost beat Brady. Remember that game? Brandon Cooks in the corner of the end zone to win the game for the Patriots as time was expiring. Then last year, obviously, the Patriots got beat down by the Texans on Sunday Night Football pretty handily in that game, and Deshaun really made their zero coverages and some of the coverages that they were running that were leaving their corners one-on-one. He exposed that with deep passing and passing down the field to his playmakers. So there's no more Hopkins. That's a big break for the Patriots and every team that goes up against Houston, obviously. But again, their roster still has names on it that people will recognize, that have made Pro Bowls, that have played good football in the past.
Yeah, now looking at the other side of the ball, where do you think the biggest threat is with that Texans defense?
J.J. Watt, I mean, he's still here, right? And he still plays at a very, very high level. He is one of the more impressive guys that you watch on tape because he's got all the skill and all the talent in the world, but he also hustles his butt off. There's a couple of plays against Cleveland where they were running away from him because you don't want to run towards J.J. Watt, obviously. And he was back in backside pursuit, almost making the tackle from behind the running back, chasing him down. You don't normally see that from a superstar like a J.J. Watt having that kind of motor. And this is a guy that's always running. He's always moving. He's got great fluidity, and he's got great technique and good size and everything that you could look for in a defensive end. So he's a player that I've always wondered if Bill Belichick could pull off a way to get his hands on him late in his career as one of those Patriot, let's get him a ring type of situation. Maybe the New England's not the right place for that anymore for J.J. Watt. But if the Texans go into a full-on rebuild with a new head coach, just obviously they have the quarterback, so you would think it'd be a quick rebuild, but maybe at this stage of his career, Watt doesn't really want to go through a year or two of kind of 2-7 football. I would love to see him in New England. Let's get him here.
Patriots Press Pass is presented by Manscaped. Get 20% off with free shipping using the code PressPass20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using the code PressPass20. Take the leap and join the Manscaped movement today. Now, back to facing the Texans, coming off of an upset win over Baltimore earlier this week. Are the Texans the team the Patriots want to be facing, riding that high still?
Well, I am a little bit concerned about a letdown game because I think the one thing the Patriots really talked about after that Baltimore game specifically was they had sort of felt like during that 4-game losing streak that they kind of let the standard in the building drop a little bit. They maybe were using the coronavirus as an excuse, or just the fact that they didn't have Tom Brady and they had 8 opt-outs and all the circumstances that have led to the Patriots being where they're at. I think that the team was sort of buying into those things as being the bigger part of the issue than anything else, and the talent wasn't necessarily there, and they're hearing their coach go on the radio and say they don't have the depth like they usually have in past years. And I think that the product on the field was suffering as a result. Now it feels like the Patriots are pulling out of that and they're kind of getting back to playing just to the effort level and the standard that we're used to seeing in Foxborough. Not necessarily about the winning or the Super Bowls and that kind of stuff, but just there's always been this level of effort and this level of compete that the Patriots have been expected to go out there every single week and deliver, regardless of who is on the field. I think over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a return to that sort of normalcy, if you will, here in New England.
Absolutely. For all of our Patriots coverage, head to clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Patriots Press Pass.